All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Campbell. I'm USDA's Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coordinator. Happy to be here with you. My job is everything and anything beginning farmers at USDA. That's what I like to say. But I'm here with some of my colleagues who are going to be helping out today, and also a guest farmer, Naima Dore, who's going to be talking about her experience with FSA. So this is part of our Back to Basics webinar series, and we wanted to do kind of a more introductory overview to just even how to find information at USDA about beginning farmer resources. We have a ton of resources. It can be like a minefield to navigate if you're just getting started or thinking about getting started. There's so much to figure out and learn and understand, and it can be really overwhelming. We have a lot of really great information online, so we want to make sure to orient folks to that and kind of give you a big picture, how to get started with USDA, where to find things, so that when you are putting together your farm business plan or coming to a local office or meeting with employees, you are coming in kind of empowered with a lot of knowledge, and you can use that time to ask questions and just really set you up for success. So our agenda today is I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview of our BFR work at USDA for BFRs is Beginning Farmers and Ranchers. And then Janet, who is our Beginning Farmer Comms lead, is going to talk about where to find information and do a demo of farmers.gov and show folks how to orient and navigate on the website. And then we have our guest farmer, probably the highlight of our time today. Naima will be talking about her farm and how she got started and how she grew from, gardening at home to owning her own farm, and they're planting fruit trees this week. So it's been really exciting. We've worked with her a bit before, and she's worked with our beginning farmer folks in Minnesota. So it's been really fun to follow her journey and watch her grow. And so she's going to talk about kind of the challenges she's had, as well as how she used USDA programs to grow her farm operation. And also just a little bit of housekeeping. This is being recorded. It will be posted online. If you've got questions, put them in the chat. We have chat here or Q&A box. Drop them in the chat. We'll be doing questions at the end. Everybody will have access to everything. It usually takes us a couple of weeks because we actually caption and transcribe these webinars and then post them online on our farmers.gov YouTube. So it'll be available in a few weeks with the slides and all the resources, and everybody will get an email if you registered for it when that happens. So if you miss something or we're going too fast, don't worry, you will be able to get these materials and revisit it later. All right, well, welcome. We like folks to know that there is a place for everybody at USDA. No matter what type of farm you have or what size, there are programs and resources for you, or kind of what you want to do with your farm business. Sometimes it can just be a question of finding those programs and making sure that we are knitting your business needs with the right programs and resources. We can help you get started, connect you with resources, and a lot of what we do is focused on technical assistance and financial assistance, primarily through lending. So we do get a lot of questions. Folks are like, am I a beginning farmer? So for USDA, beginning farmers and ranchers are those who are new to farming and who have been farming for less than 10 years. And when we're talking about you've been farming for less than 10 years, we mean in your own operation. So this doesn't exclude multi-generational farmers. If you grew up on farming, helping out with the family farm, but now you're starting your own business or taking over the family farm, you're still a beginning farmer. 30% of farmers are beginning farmers, which means 3 out of every 10 farmers has entered the industry in the last 10 years. That's a lot of folks. It's really exciting. We have been seeing this number sort of grow steadily in our ag census since I started working at USDA and over the past few census surveys, and it's really exciting. Beginning farmers really represent the future of the industry, and we want to make sure that you have access to all the tools that you need to grow and succeed and keep on farming beyond those 10 years. I cannot tell a lie. It is very difficult to be a beginning farmer. I am also a farmer. I know a lot of these challenges firsthand. I raise livestock. It's really, really difficult. I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, lost a lot of money, made a lot of poor life choices, had a lot of sleepless nights. It is hard. And for beginning farmers, you all have a lot of barriers, particularly when it comes to access to financing, access to farmland, getting experience, getting good mentorship. Also, if you're in a new business, you tend to be farming and living a little bit on a wing and a prayer, or you just don't have the reserves and the savings. So they tend to be less resilient financially. If there's a natural disaster or a market disruption, it can be harder for beginning farmers to pivot or recover or just have the reserves to sustain through a difficult season. So at USDA, we got a lot of tools for that, but we've also found that beginning farmers also tend to be less likely to be aware of all the programs and resources that we have, and less likely to participate in something like crop insurance. Even though if you do, you're more likely to succeed. So we want to make sure that we are connecting folks with the right resources. I bucket beginning farmers into a couple of different categories, and these are all equally worthy and valuable, but just it's a good question to say, where am I? Where am I here? Because your needs are going to be different depending on where you sit. If you are thinking about farming, but you don't have a plan, land, capital, or like really know where to begin, sometimes USDA is that first phone call. But if you're not program ready or you haven't maybe thought through a business plan, we can direct you to resources and make a lot of referrals. But there's also a lot of other really great resources, probably locally, and even ones that are outside of USDA with local farm organizations, extension, that will be really important for you to interact with. If you are early in your farming career, but you're kind of actively farming, maybe you've just been doing it a few years, and now you're ready to, seek funding, a loan, maybe try to find more farmland, kind of grow a little bit. That can be USDA can be a really great place for those producers. Or if you've been doing this a couple of years, congratulations, you made it from that like 5-year mark where we see a lot of folks who don't get that far, but then it's time to scale and expand and grow. So again, we got a lot of different resources and programs. Or you might be multi-generational. You're taking over the family business. I'm a multi-generational farmer, but I didn't take over the business. I started a new business on my family's farmland. So there's just a lot of different ways to do that. And all those producers have some different set of needs and a different set of resources. But we got something for everybody across these categories. So in getting started with your own operation, we recommend folks visit farmers.gov/newfarmers. We have a ton of resources there. We're constantly updating and overhauling this website. We also recommend connecting with your state beginning farmer and rancher coordinator. So every state's got a beginning farmer coordinator. These are sort of our local traffic directors. So you reach out, tell them about your operation or what you want to do or what you're trying to do or you're in the middle of figuring out, and they can direct you to resources. It might be programs like, hey, you should really think about, you're working on your farmland application or you want to submit a farmland application. So we'll make sure you're connected to your local county office and a farmland officer, and you can submit that. Or here's things you can access online, or like, hey, you need help with a business plan? Like, let's refer you to Extension or another organization. So they can help you navigate the web of resources at the local level. They're going to know about resources that are specific to your state and the different counties. We also want to make sure everybody knows where their local USDA service center is. Every county in America is served by a local office. So it might not necessarily be in your county. You may have to travel a county over, but there is somebody there for you from one of our farmer-facing agencies. And then always develop a plan. planning is like the most important. The plans will always change and you might have to, throw some out the window, but having a plan for your operation is really critical, especially as you think about how do I access financing, what programs are going to be a good fit, kind of having a sense of what you want to do is going to make a really big difference and improve your experience when you go to the local office and work with USDA. So now I'm going to hand this over to Janet, and she's going to give us a little bit of a tour and a demo of farmers.gov and tell you where to find things, because in government, we're very good at sending folks to websites, but maybe not telling them where all the things are on those websites.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to walk you through the website. And this is not an opportunity to remember everything that's there or to commit it to memory. This is just for you to know that this information is here online and where you may be able to find what you need when it's time. So at first, Sarah, can you see my screen? Somebody?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I had to find my mute button.
No problem. So first, I'm starting out on farmers.gov. I think farmers.gov is a very interesting site, and it's the useful site. It is all things USDA for farmers and ranchers. So anything, any programs, no matter what the agency, you can pretty much find some information here. It may take you over to the agency website, but this is where you can start. And so, and here you see that there's news, and one of the top things on the news is our webinar today. There are important dates. There are farmers.gov tools. How can we help you today? Am I a beginning farmer and I would like help? Select yes. Here's information here to get you started, and it's going to take you to the website. The primary way that you would get to the website is go to your business and come here to how to start a farm for beginning farmers and ranchers. There are also other links there. There's how to reach your coordinator and resources for our veteran farmers. But first, we're just going to go to the main site. I have several tabs open. I'm kind of gaming the system just in case it doesn't load quickly. So if you select that link, it's going to bring you here. And here is this main page of how to start a farm for beginning farmers and ranchers. Anytime that we have a webinar going on, and we try to have them quarterly, anytime there's a webinar, there's going to be this banner here to tell you the time, the date, and how to register. Are the items on this page? This is a menu that will keep you on this page or will just move you down the page. One of the largest sections is the how to start a farm operation. And there are 6 areas here. There's different areas that is chunked into categories to help you walk through this session. Help you walk through the operation. So what I will come back up to here and go into here, but I want to go down to the rest of the page and kind of show you other things that are there. So as I mentioned, every state has a beginning farm and rancher coordinator, and this person will help connect you to the resources in your state. And that is very important to be able to get local information. And when you contact them, whether you contact them by email or you call them, please have this information ready. Location. This is where your operation, you're intending for your operation to be, because that's very important. The type of operation, the livestock, row crops, what type of operation are you planning to have? And land, in your land situation, what are you going to do? Do you own land? Are you going to lease land? Do you plan to make a purchase? What do you plan to do as far as having land? And all of that information is key for them to be able to determine how to help you and what available resources there are for you. As Sarah mentioned, the service centers, almost every page will be able to get you to your service center. And we want to make sure that you find your local help easily and all the time. There's some self-service options. You can log in, you can get a login, and you will be able to handle some things online yourself without going to an office or be able to check on things. Tools for farmers. These are tools that you can go into, and they are, you can go in, answer questions based on your situation, and it will give you back general programs and general programs that will help you in whatever you've selected there. Get involved. These are ways to connect to your ag community. This is not an individual sport per se. You will need a bench. You will need mentors. You will need local people in your area to help you work through getting your business up and going and being able to talk shop with someone. There's some additional resources here there's the blog. So the blogs are where you will be able to read about other beginning farmers and some of the situations that they've had and how they work with USDA. There's a fact sheet for beginning farmers, and that walks you through how to get started, what information to gather for your first visit to USDA and what you can expect. There's some information for historically underserved farmers, and that's a guide to help get that to help you figure out. It's grouped by your category basically. There's some information here on small and mid-sized. Most of new beginning farmers are small, and some of them are mid-sized. And this is our third webinar. We've had two before, and this one, as Sarah mentioned, is being recorded and will end up on this website. It will be here. And so when more than likely it will be me, when I email you and let you know that it's on the website, you will be able to come here and it will be listed here with the other two. And as I mentioned, blog posts, you could have hit that link, but you can also, the blogs are here at the bottom of the screen. And on every single page, there you can find your local service center. So as I mentioned, this 6 category section here on how to start a farm, there is so much information there. And again, this is not for you to memorize all of this information, but it is for you to know what kind of information is here so that when it's time for you and you need this information, you'll be able to find it. Depending on where you all are in different areas of your operation. Some of you are needing to start here from scratch. Some of you are in different areas and you can go directly there. All of this information, even if you have been in production for a while, you may want to start from here just to see what's there and what may be beneficial to you. I do want to point out, a lot of times BFRs come into the office and they say they need land and they need a loan so they can buy land and get started. You see here on our chunks here, funding is not first. There are a lot of things to do before we get there. So let's go into that first page. And yes, okay. Go into this first page, and I want to point out that at the top and bottom of every single page, you will be able to click here, and that gets you back to the page that we just left. Here are the links to this section, this 1 through 6 section, and you can go in order or you can click around in here. On all of the pages, there will be this menu that walks you through, it gives you links to what else is on the page. This menu keeps you on the page. This menu takes you out of this page. This menu takes you all the way back to the beginning. And so, we talked about needing a business plan, and this walks you through why you need one. It helps you get organized. It's your guide. And you will also definitely need it if you want to or need to apply for a loan. And how USDA can help is get you connected to your state's beginning farm and rancher coordinator. And right here, I'm going to show this page. If you click there, this page shows you all of the states, who the person is, and their contact information. And so that will be very important to reach out to this person, and this person will help walk you through walk you through any information that you need on this, maybe on this website or in their offices in the state, and get you connected to the people that you need to speak with. And so here you have to have a business plan. And you need one, whether you need a loan or not, whether you're, whether, like I said, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been in operation for a while. If you have one, maybe you need to go back and just brush it off and make sure that you're still going along the path that you want to go along. A lot of times farmers bristle at being told that their farm is a business because they just want to feed people. They just want to grow their crops or their livestock, and they don't want to deal with the business part of it. But whether your operation is you just want to break even and make sure you have enough at the end to buy seed and do it again the next time, or you want to transition this into a full-fledged operation that you no longer have an off-farm situation, an off-farm job. Regardless, you have to know where you are and plan for that. And so here we have 6 categories that will help you make up your business plan. And under each of these categories are questions. And if you answer these questions will get you the information that you need to gather in order for each of these 6 sections of your business plan. So under your history, what products do you produce? What's the size of your operation? What kind of training and experience do you have? How long have you been in business? All of these things, once you get all of these questions answered, then you've completed the business history part of your business plan. So if you look at it like that, then you will be able to go to each of these, answer these questions, and work through what it takes to get this business plan completed. Some of these questions are very detailed, because you really need to think about long-term where you are and where you're trying to get to in order to be able to be successful. So again, what are you going to produce, but who are you going to sell it to? Really, is there a demand for it? What's the cost? How do you even, if you're going to ask for a loan, how do you know how much to ask if you don't know how much it costs to have your operation running successfully? There are also questions for under the operation. What resources do you already have? What equipment do you need? All of these things are very important in trying to figure out this side of the financial side. How will you finance your business? Are you coming to FSA? Are you going to SBA? Are you going to a private lender? What assets do you have? All of these things they're going to want to know in order to determine if you are a feasible business and how much they will loan you in order to see your operation come to fruition. There are farm business plan worksheets here to help you with your numbers and instructions. So in addition to just the normal things that you think about with planting and raising livestock, there's also a conservation and risk management portion to it. And you will be able to work with NRCS on the conservation. You will need to think about risk management, having insurance, working with your local insurance, working with local insurance, working with your local insurance through RMA, or there may be other options that you want to look at, but you definitely need to have something for to set up so that you have protection that in the event of disaster recovery, hurricanes come, it's going to flood, it's going to drought, you have droughts. How will you recover from that? There are special considerations for businesses. Are you an organic farmer? Are you doing urban farming, value-added products? Are you growing strawberries and making jam out of it? You want to start a cooperative. For individuals, what kind of operator are you? You're beginning, you have limited resources, are you a veteran? Are you heirs property owner? The 2018 Farm Bill gave some special provisions for those who have land that they don't own outright, that they own in common with family members. There's some special provisions that will help you perhaps get a farm number where in the past you have not been able to get one. There are resources here that you can go to for business planning and mentorship and training opportunities. So all of this information is here, and it will take some effort on your part to go through here and walk through the steps, but all of the information is here. And we also, at your local office, there will be people there to help answer questions. Sometimes if you get stuck, if they can't answer the question or it's out of our wheelhouse, they can point you in the direction of a partner that could help you. And so what's important, if you've never visited the office, it's very important for you to know what is next. How do you successfully work with the office? You more than likely, your local service center will have Farm Service Agency, possibly Natural Resource Conservation Service will be there. Before you visit, make an appointment. That is to make sure that the person that you need to sit down with has set aside enough time for you guys to really dig into what you need to talk about and to walk you through whatever needs to be walked through at that time. Whenever you call to make the appointment, ask them, based on the information that you've given them, ask them what documents that you need to bring in so you can have all of those documents available. And so that is your preparation. During your visit, you'll discuss your operation, you'll discuss your plans, you'll discuss, at this point, you at the very least will have an overall idea of the basics. What do you need? What will you be growing? Where will you be growing it? What is your land situation? All of that will be discussed at this point. If you already have land, you will register at that point and get a farm number, or check that land to see if it already has a farm number. It probably already has a farm number if it has been in production before. You will also get an opportunity to sign up for emails and text updates through Gov Delivery, and you can get local information from your local county office, from your state office. There are opportunities to get information from beginning farmers, from the loan group. So you can have that information come directly to your inbox or to your phone if it's texting. A lot of times, one of the things that, this is the biggie right here, finding land and funding it. And so on this page, there's a lot of information here on how to find land, how to plan before you actually fund, considerations when looking for farmland. It's not just a matter of going out and says, this is a plot that's empty, somebody's willing to sell it or lease it, let me do that. There's some things that you want to take into consideration before you enter into a lease, or you try to purchase land that is there. And you want to check growing conditions, compare your options. There is a difference between the leasing the land and purchasing the land. A lot of times BFRs will need to start out with leasing, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is really a good way to start out, because you are beginning. There's some things that's going to happen that you're going to kind of bump your head against, and maybe leasing is a good way for you to get started and get your feet wet there versus starting out with a purchase. But everybody's situation is different. It's just weigh all of your options before you go into deciding how you're going to do it, without looking at all of the options to figure out the best way to do it. This is walking you through how to find capital for other farm and ranch needs. Not only will you need land, but what about your equipment, livestock? What improvements will you need? Your feed, the seed, and the inputs, will you need loans for that? If you're doing value-added processing, what do you need for that? Cost share. Some of our programs require cost share. You may need a loan to meet your cost share requirements with it. So there are other options, and there are links here that will help you, walk you through and help you figure out your best options for your situation. There's information here on working with USDA, working with small business. These are links for the loans. So there's a lot of information here on finding land and getting a loan, which, like I said, are the biggies. Okay. The next one is growing your business knowledge. Again, whether you want to grow to a mega farm or you just want to break even every year, you still need to know about running your business and being the most successful at it. We have extension, we have SCORE to be a mentor. You need to figure out your legal structure for your business. Are you going to be a sole proprietorship? Are you going to be a partnership, LLC? Which one works best for you? Which makes the most sense in your situation? And so there's this information here that guides you through the business structures and what makes sense. Registering your farm. This is different than registering with USDA. This is registering your farm as a business. This is registering your farm with your state and to get the federal EIN numbers. And so that, again, I know sometimes all of this seems like I don't want to do that. I just want to farm. This is is a part of setting up a successful legal operation. You have licenses and permits. Again, purchasing insurance. You have liability insurance, property insurance, crop insurance, workers' comp. They're depending on your situation. Some of these things are things you may need to consider and look into. The USDA crop insurance. Will you have employees on your farm? You have labor laws. Are you H-2A visas? Occupational health and safety. All of these are things that you need to be aware of. And, you never know if you're starting out, this may not be anything that you need now, but down the road, as your business grows, these may be things you need to circle back to this website to find. There's information here about selling your crops. You have crops, information for crops, animal operations, commodity and weather projections. These are all things that you need to understand and know about. Value-added products, storage and packaging, complying with regulations. There are, your producers of meat, poultry, or egg products. There are things that you need to know about that. And there are links here to help walk you through that. Food safety for GAP, Product Safety Alliance. All of these things are here and available for you to find more additional information on. Marketing your products, grading services, organic certifications, auditing and accreditation. Economic trends, you need to know. You may have planted corn forever. Now may not be the time to plant corn. You need to know that. You need to kind of stay on top of what are the trends. Local and regional food systems. You may be trying to sell locally, super local. You may be doing farmers markets, on-farm markets, CSAs or food hubs, participating in farm to school, developing export capacities to send your crops overseas. These are options, and you need to know much information as possible and the best ways to go about making decisions about whether or not this is something you want to participate in and how to go about making your business the most successful. You can also sell food to USDA. That is the food that ends up in schools and food banks and also in households and communities. There are additional resources for that here that find out information from places like SARE and the National Ag Library. And ultimately, we're at number 6 now, which is how to maintain the farm operations. And actually, one of the major things, so FSA is the only place you can get a farm number, and FSA is where you will need to report your crop acreage. And it is advised and very important for you to ensure that your crop acreage stays up to date. In the event that a program comes up or there's a disaster and you need to go into the office, it is much easier to start with your latest, greatest information than to have to go back and try to recreate that information in the system to get you up to date before you can even start to make an application. We need to manage your finances, keep up with your record keeping and filing taxes. Again, we're talking about managing risks, market risk, disaster assistance, managing the land and resources, your energy efficiency, your environmental regulations. You want to continue your education. It is ever changing. Some things that and it's always evergreen. Some things that that changes over time. Again, there's a farmers.gov account that you can set up and you can take care of some of the things yourself. You can connect with USDA and the Ag Committee. You stay up to date on our programs and information and connect with your Ag Committee. And we're at the end of these 6 major things. And again, it's not about knowing exactly what's where, but just knowing that it's here. And clicking out here, we're going back to the main page. And I think in this amount of time, I think I have crammed as much information as possible into this time. And I'm going to now turn it back over to Sarah.
Thank you, Janet. All right, let's see, I think I may need to share my screen again. There we go. All right, thank you, Janet. I know that is a lot, folks, and there's a ton of resources online, and there's been a lot of really great questions in the chat. I think, we've kind of been giving folks quick answers there. But also we'll be having some more discussion as we get to the end, and I think more will become clear. So just a few more slides, and then we're going to have our wonderful farmer guest talk about her experience. So there have been some questions too that have come in about folks who are kind of not sure who to go, where to go. We, in this, also asking about different agencies and resources. So in this presentation here, turn my camera on, we did not kind of do the full breakdown on everything, just because there's so much to cover. We could, spend like 3 days straight in webinars talking through everything, but the main farmer facing agencies are within the Farm Production and Conservation Mission Area, and that includes FSA, the Farm Service Agency, NRCS, which is the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and RMA, the Risk Management Agency. Also locally, you will find Rural Development, which is an agency that has some programs for producers, but also things for sort of rural home and housing. So those are those are the local folks on the ground who you're going to find in your area. In terms of who is supporting beginning farmers and ranchers at the local level, it's all those folks. Beginning farmers is everybody's job, we say, but we do have some folks who are dedicated. So those are those state beginning farmer and rancher coordinators. Janet showed you where you can find their contact information online. So those are those folks who are kind of dedicated to helping you all. We've also got outreach and public affairs staff who you may encounter at different conferences or events, tabling or hosting workshops or, attending workshops and talking about USDA programs that other organizations host. So their job is to help folks get the information and learn about programs. We have farm program and loan technicians. So these are the folks who support our loan and program staff, as well as help farmers with their paperwork, their documentation, their applications. There's soil conservationists and loan officers. These are folks on the ground who can come out to our soil conservationists will come out to your farm, meet with you, talk to you. Our loan officers are the folks who are going to be reviewing your applications and going through financials, and you have that one-on-one relationship. And then there's also program specialists and managers, because we have so many programs and resources. I did see a few comments there about folks who kind of emailed their state beginning farmer rancher coordinators, maybe didn't hear back. If you don't hear back from folks, we do recommend following up with a phone call. Sometimes our spam filters can be a little bit aggressive, and they will quarantine folks' emails, and we might not always see them. So I do recommend following up with a phone call if you don't hear back. So these are, as I mentioned, our field-facing agencies. So our Farm Service Agency, FSA, we've got disaster assistance, safety net, our farm loan programs and some conservation records where you're going to go to get your farm number when you register your farm with USDA, NRCS as financial and technical assistance for conservation, or if you have an environmental resource concern on working land. They also have some easements, and they do a little bit of also some forestry work. Or forest conservation. RMA, they're the ones who administer crop insurance. And so through their approved insurance providers, and you can ask your local office for a list of the local approved insurance providers if you're seeking crop insurance. And then, yeah, RD has a lot of resources. Some are focused on rural businesses. A lot of it is around housing, but they do have a few programs for farmers. They run the value added producer grant. There's a farm worker housing program as well for loans for farm worker housing. So that can be a really good resource. Also, we direct folks there who are maybe looking for, they're more interested in homesteading. They don't necessarily want to run a farm that is a business, but they want space, they want a rural home. That can be a really great financing option. So, without further ado, I'm now going to hand it over to Naima Dore to talk about Naima's farm and her adventures and journey into agriculture and using FSA and other USDA programs.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Janet, and Amanda and Rick, and the rest of the USDA for hosting this informative webinar. I'm already learning so much, and the information shared has been incredibly valuable. I will definitely revisit the website and highly encourage everyone to explore when you get the chance. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Naima Dore. I'm joining you today from our family farm here in Minnesota. If you do hear my kids in the background, I apologize. School is done. But I wanted to share a few things with you in terms of some of the resources that we were able to utilize, such as the FSA direct loan, and that's how we were successfully were able to purchase our 20-acre here in Minnesota. So do I have access to the presentation?
I think you may have to just say next slide and I'll tab through.
Okay, all right, thanks. Sounds great. You know, I love what was said earlier in terms of there's a place for everyone in USDA. I truly believe that. Sometimes it just takes time because I know in the beginning I really struggled, you know, our farming journey and still figuring out because there's just so much going on and you know in terms of you know our operation here. We started at an incubator farm, but let me take you back. You know, I have zero farming background. My husband has zero farming background, but we fell in love with the idea of just raising our kids outdoor in nature, growing food, and we started humbly in our tiny apartment, growing microgreens and herbs, and quickly realized that's not sustainable. But you know, we're a proud first generation farmers with no more mentor. But now because of this great presentation, I'm gonna look into mentorship and connect with others because you know we've been at it since the beginning and just navigating and learning you know with the resources coming in with the connections that we were able to make, whether we were at the garden, our local garden, to attending conferences, you know, visiting other farms. So over time, we were able to accumulate these beautiful connections that we are now able to sustain and highly encourage you to, you know, reach out to other farmers. Um, the website is overwhelming and intimidating. That's how I would describe it, but don't get discouraged. That's a lot of information. But you know, I think it's really important to find out who your local folks are and just go visit them. I promise you, they don't bite. They're amazing people. You know, it takes time. It's all about relationship. So if you can go to the next slide. And oh, look at that. I do clean up pretty well. That's me, obviously. And my husband's name is Fagaz. And like I said, we're first generation farmers. And as you can see in this photo, we started our incubator farming and we did that 3 years. And there's a reason why we did that, and I'll get into it. It's tied to records and planning and so on and so forth. But yeah, that was, I believe, our first year for the picture that you see of Fagaz holding the tray. And that picture I love. I also work with the community in South Minneapolis, and there's a beautiful garden there too that I support. Next slide, please. Like I said, our journey started in our tiny apartment, and we really wanted to have control of, our food and where our food comes from. And at the time, we were raising one child, and wanted to make sure that he started off eating right, and wanted to expose him to vegetables mainly. And, we quickly realized, like I said, that was not sustainable. We transitioned to a community garden, and that was an ideal place for us to grow. And then, of course, we registered, and um, we were commuting pretty far, the distance wise, in terms of where we lived at the time and where this incubator farm. And every year I would tell my husband I quit, and then somehow find myself signing up the following season and growing food again, and just continue that. And the reason why we did 3 years is because we wanted to have records to present to USDA, specifically Farm Services Agency, because we were interested in exploring or the idea of buying land. Um, we visited a lot of farmland. There's so much I can share with you, but I really don't want folks to get discouraged or overwhelmed. It is really, really difficult finding land that fits all your needs, right? For me, I refuse to commute long distance, even like if it was 10 minutes away. I was like, nope, want to live on site. And there's reasons for that, right? I mean, it just makes sense, right? And so we were looking for a property that was organic ready, or at least, I want to say, where we're not investing too much time reviving the land. And it sometimes what happens is we would find this ideal, perfect, like farm ready, land, but the house was outdated. So looking at our finance and just being responsible beginner farmers, we didn't want to like take on so much loan, thinking about like, are we doing roofing or, fixing this home where we need equipment and tools, because farming is costly, y'all. I just want to make sure, like, I don't want this presentation to be discouraging, but I just want to be transparent and real. That's why it's taking us such a long time to buy our land. I want folks to understand, unless you have money, good for you if that's the case and you're ready to go. Definitely make sure that you have a clear plan in terms of, what you want to do, there's a lot going on in farming. It's not just about, growing food or, raising livestock, but you have to think about your own personal finance. Burnout is real too. How do you balance home and, your family and farming, and depending on where you are, there's just a lot going on. So I want you to think um, more than just the farming piece. We all have lives. So to keep that in mind. Next slide, please. I want to emphasis on, relationship. I'm an introvert, so I try to, like, if I can avoid people and just be, in nature and farming and doing all that fun stuff, I can do that forever. When it comes to people, I get shy and kind of, closed, but uh, farming just made me come out and just connect with people and have conversation and share my passion for growing cultural food and introducing new crops. And and I was able to put myself out there and reach out to my local USDA staff. Like I said, they don't bite. They're amazing people. They might be overwhelmed with a lot of paperwork, which I gave them um, grace and opportunity for them to come out and visit us. Like, we've been hosting our local USDA folks, and I think this one's more the state level, and had folks from different areas in USDA come out and see our operation. Um, and yeah, we love having folks come and learn from us, and we're open to learning and really connecting and figure out a way to improve these programs, because USDA is not perfect. I said it. But you know what? They do listen. They're open to ideas. I think, there's just so much opportunity to shift this narrative of what farming looks like, and really supporting small scale farms like ours. And, because we're doing our part growing food that is nurturing and like just nutritional, and just, you know, um, farming done right. I feel like, that's the best way to I can put it, what we're doing. Next slide, please. Okay, so outside of FSA, the Farm Service Agency, which I covered, and then that's how we were able to purchase our farm. Again, I just want to remind folks, records, I mean, bookkeeping and just tracking your farm sales, and all good things, will definitely help you access to some of these resources. And they're tied to so many other opportunities too, which I will share with you. But another area that I'm really passionate about is the Natural Resources Conservation Service within USDA, and we were able to utilize their equip, and we were able to get a high tunnel at a rented farm that we used to lease. And then now we have, this is, I believe, our second contract at our new place. So we already built a high tunnel, and we're expecting to build a few more. We had a conversation, because I didn't realize that you can, everything is not by the book technically, but if you invite the staff and help them understand what you're trying to do, there are rooms where you can come up with a plan and that fits your need and your operation. So originally we were thinking, are we limited to only have what you're in terms of the guidelines for the high tunnel, versus where we wanted a smaller version of high tunnel that would give us more growing space, if that makes any sense. So, for example, if their requirements within this equip application says, this is, not 30, what is it, 3290. Amanda, someone help me. I don't know if anyone on the call is familiar with the requirement for the high tunnel. I believe it's 32 by 96. And we were like, hey, is it possible for us to get these specific, and I don't want to name drop, but there's a specific folks out in Tennessee that we were hoping to buy 3 smaller, these Gothic high tunnels that are 16 by 100, which will give us more growing versus just having this required, equip. So they were like, yeah, you can absolutely order these 3, which, again, I'm just trying to think of, how do we maximize this resource, and so there's definitely room to have these type of conversation. Don't feel like, that they will say no or shut you down. It's just really allowing yourself to open up and have these conversations. I'm happy to share with y'all that we are continuing to expand. Like I said, we started a vegetable, but now we're growing into fruits. And another thing that I'm really passionate about and introducing here in our great state of Minnesota is millet. Millet is a staple food back home in Somalia, and I am experimenting with that and having a lot of success growing it. I just don't have the right equipment and the processing yet. Maybe I need to look into meeting with someone to help me figure out how I can access some of the loan. But we were able to get some of these cost share that contribute to our well well and fencing as well, and also our trees and fruit trees and pollinator, which we've been planting a lot of fruit trees and trees yesterday and today. I think we planted over 100. I'm really excited about that. Next slide, please. As you can see, we did not waste time. Just looking at the snow, it's incredible how much work farmers can do, and I still pinch myself like, wow, I'm a landowner, like this is amazing. But you can see the before and after. The picture here was February 2023 is when we closed on this property. And the following year, we did not waste time. Like I said, 16 hours a day, just my husband and I, we don't have no help. And I think what this shows is we were determined, we were persistent, and just consistent over the years. We accumulated years of experience and knowledge, and we're still learning and growing. And you can see we started our permanent beds, and you can see the high tunnel that we received. We built that the first year. I believe it was October 2023 is when we finished building, and we did the well that year. And then this past season, it's so hard to see, sorry, but we built a wash and pack, and you can see that trailer is a 53, like food grade trailer that is not just for our operation, but we're opening our doors to other local in the area farmers, and we're facilitating a drop site for these farmers to use that cool storage, basically playing a middleman essentially for the food hub, if that makes sense. So yeah, our role is not just growing food, but we do work with Food Hub. One of our biggest wholesaler is we're in partnership with hospital here. Yeah, and we're really committed to working with other farmers from different backgrounds. I understand the challenge in beginning farmer, like this is a lot of information, and one of the biggest thing that we all commonly share is the capital. Where do you get this? Farming is costly. And so where do you find the information and the resource is something that I always like to share my experience and how we were able to achieve all of this, because obviously this requires a lot of capital. Next slide, please. And forgive me if I'm missing to share a lot. There's just so much information. We just planted these guys yesterday, so I'm really excited to share this with you. And the reason why I'm sharing this is fruit was not part of our operation, and so as you think about planning, and it's okay, your plans could be something as simple as planting one tree or one fruit tree, and then maybe thinking about, your goals for 5-year or 10-year. Just, whatever you decide to do, just make sure that you're committed to it and connect with, the local folks, connect with other farmers, highly encourage you to visit this website. There's just so much information. Next slide, please. Okay, the fun part. Like I said, English is not my first language, and I'm learning, and And I can imagine for those that are English speaking, this is a lot. This is a lot of information. So don't get discouraged. I want you to know that, as you navigate the system, try to take what makes sense to your operation, your long-term vision. And like I said, it's okay to start small and grow over time. um, for us, lack of mentorship kind of slowed us down because we were not sure a lot of things. So it took time for me to gather information and ask questions. And there's no such thing as stupid question. Just ask the question. You'll never know what information you'll get, and what that information will lead to other information. So sometimes I'm like, am I asking the right question? Am I phrasing it the right way? So it's okay. Sometimes I feel like the local folks are sick or tired of me, but they are so happy to see me at the same time because they're like, I'm glad you came in. I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you sent that third email, so that we're on the same page. Because I just don't want to create duplicate work for them, and because we have that relationship, and it took time that they can reach out to me and they can stop by and say, hey, Naima, we're visiting a nearby farmer. We want to stop by. What did you mean by this? Or what else do you need from us? That relationship is just really, really important. Um, okay, so the success, like I said, I feel good about my local folks. Like I said, it took time. It took a lot of energy and effort on my end to make those connections. Um, I think just having confidence and submitting the applications, it's something that I've over time able to do independently because of that interaction and that experience. Um, yeah, just really connect with your local groups. There are just so many amazing farming groups. I get overwhelmed by them too sometimes. I get all these invitations, but you'll never know who's in that group and what conversation is happening. So I highly encourage you to, make those connections and seek that support. Next slide, please. Oh, all right. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. I think Amanda's been going through the chat and she'll mine some questions for us. Some have been sort of asked and answered, but one thing that I did see coming up a lot is folks are asking about like buying farmland and like how do I just start? And I think you'll have some good things to say here, but I want to tell folks too, we get a lot of folks who are just like, okay, well, how do I start farming if you won't just let me like buy a farm? But they don't have a lot of experience. Maybe they haven't worked at a farm yet. We always recommend like leasing. You can still use FSA financing for land that you're leasing. You don't have to own farmland to participate in these programs. But for folks who are just trying to figure out how to dive in, what advice do you have for them? Or they're feeling like they can't start, but they want to start.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you like I said, you can start, you know, um, doing community work and like visiting your local community gardens. You can enroll incubator farm like we did for 3 years. You can lease, which comes with resources like equipment, so you don't have to buy the equipment. You don't have to commit to buying land, and see if you truly love this. You have to love it or else this is not going to make any sense. Definitely keep your day job. Don't be like, oh, wow, this is beautiful. Look at this, right? Because I know we have people coming and visiting us, and they don't want to leave, right? Because it's such a beautiful property, and it's still, a lot. We have long ways to go and our dreams, but it's like just seeing this property and how much they just want to start farming. I'm like, whoa, hit the brake. Hold on 1 second. You have to understand, like, you don't want to commit to something that you haven't tested. So I highly encourage people to start small. I know we started growing food in our apartment, not that small, but if you're really itching and like want to get to just like the everyday farming and records and planning, farm on someone else's land. That's that's just the way to do it, instead of farming on your land. Definitely, uh, just document everything. That is the best advice I could give you in terms of like your records from seeds to the soil type, uh, the weather that season. Just make a habit of documenting, right? And so that will help you in the long run in terms of accessing loans and a lot of grants that are out there for startup beginner farmers that you can take advantage of. I hope that answered the question.
I think so. I did just wanted to ask what an incubator farm is. There are incubators around the country. It's a really great place. Basically, like they sort of incubate and help businesses grow. They are often tied to a training program. So you kind of go through a program and you get support, mentorship, and then access to land. And ideally, folks kind of graduate out, or maybe they decide farming's not for them, or they get like a bigger plot at the incubator. So there might be one in your area. That's a really great way. Like I said, I'm a multi-generational farmer, but I was interested in a different type of agriculture than my family had, and I went and worked on farms. Like I just got a job as, like farm labor, and learned a lot. So, it can be hard to sort of dive in, but I think you've given some really great advice here.
I was gonna add, yeah, absolutely. Volunteer with farmers. I mean, we could always use some help, right? And I think this is a great time too. I mean, correct me, Sarah, there's a transition happening, right? In terms of, aging farmers and, beginner farmers have a great opportunity. I think this is a really nice time to make those connections and reach out to folks that are ready to mentor and already have that system in place and have that farm number so you don't have to go through all that hustle of a registration and all that paperwork. There's just great opportunity. Highly encourage you to do your own research. Maybe start with like your Department of Agriculture in your state. There's tons of information. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea, Sarah.
So some questions that we have here, Sarah, we'll start with you. Some questions that we get quite often here at USDA, asking how folks can get access to land, the best approach there or opportunities, and perhaps they don't currently qualify for FSA funding, recommendations on what they can do to become USDA eligible.
The magic question. Finding land can be, like just as hard as kind of figuring out the capital and the business plan situation. And also, a lot of, at least at FSA, they want you to have like a piece of farmland in mind when you come in with wanting to apply for a farm loan. It's not like a home where you kind of get like pre-authorized up to a certain amount, because the business plan has to work for the piece of property. But there are different land link programs around the country. Most state departments of ag or states, maybe some other organization in the state kind of manage those. And so there tend to be lists. I think American Farmland Trust might even have a national one, where there are land seekers and landowners, and the idea is to sort of knit them together. I will be honest, that can be really challenging. There's far more land seekers often on those websites than there are folks who are, wanting to turn their land over to the next generation. But this is where also building those local connections is going to be, really important. A lot of farmland changes hands outside of kind of the traditional put a real estate listing up, working with a realtor. Folks in the community we'll find out before something gets listed, or it may never even be advertised. So this is where building those relationships, getting to know folks who work in the industry, kind of also being a member of your local farm community if you're farming and leasing and wanting to buy land, getting to know and getting networked within the local industry can be helpful. There are a few programs that USDA has that are really great for folks. We have our CRP tip. So if there's a landowner who's got land that's in the Conservation Reserve Program, if they sell or do a long-term lease to a beginning farmer, they get some extra payments. So if there are folks in your area who have those expiring contracts, they may be seeking somebody. And we also have a down payment loan, which can be a really great resource if you're able to save 5% for a down payment instead of the usual larger number. But finding farmland, I will be honest, it can be hard, but there are a lot of organizations that do really good work in this space. And so that's where kind of working with a lot of our nonprofit partners can be helpful. Do you have anything to add to that, Naima? That's been your journey recently.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think, organizations that are already in partnership with USDA or your Department of Agriculture, um, you can certainly reach out to those folks that have probably more deeper connection to landowners, or there's just, a long list of different organizations doing the work. It's just a matter of, that connection to happen organically sometimes. For me, it was just, it was more the journey of going through the incubator to, just slowly, gradually finding random farms online through, different realtor and my own personal realtor. And so that process allowed me to have access to just varies of different resources that kind of guide me the right direction.
Thank you. And then about the USDA's definition of beginning farmers. So we had a question about an operation. Someone was in partnership with a family farm, but then they're going to break off and start their own farming operation. So Sarah, can you speak to that? Like, what constitutes a beginning farmer from your perspective when applying for programs?
Yeah. So if you are part of a family farm operation, but you are going off and wanting to start your own, then, that business is a new business. You're a beginning farmer. I always tell folks, growing up around agriculture, being part of the family farm, and then striking out on your own does not exclude you from our programs or eligibility. It's actually really great. That means you've got experience that you can document, as part of your application, and you've got a lot of knowledge to draw on as you're putting together your business plan. So we're looking at folks who are actually, you've got your own farm, your own business, you're filing your own Schedule F, your own kind of business taxes. That's what we're looking for.
And then kind of Naima, to go back to you. So folks were questioning if you had livestock, and then to maybe share again what the crops you're growing on your farm.
Oh, great question. I definitely foresee livestock in the future, but not sometime because this is our second year. We're in the building phase. So like I said, we're going to be adding more additional high tunnels, but we primarily grow vegetable. Like I said, we started planting fruit trees, but I should have mentioned this in my presentation. What really excited us about this property is it came with a 6-car garage. We will never own 6 cars, but we saw the opportunity for value-added products that was mentioned in the presentation earlier when I'm not sure who, Janet or Sarah mentioned. And we do various of different value-added products that are culturally from my community. We do sauces, hot sauce, and we're going to be building a commercial kitchen and using that space for education, and really, engaging with the community, both in the city and here in our small town, rural area, and really, connecting with other farmers that want to do value as well. So yeah, I mean, there's multiple enterprises happening within our 20 acres, but slowly building one at a time. So thank you for asking the question.
Sure. And you've talked a lot about your high tunnels. So we've had the question about what is a high tunnel. So can you explain to us and tell folks who might not be familiar the purpose of that and what it is?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, like I said, we're here in Minnesota, so obviously high tunnel allows us with season extension, and so because we're limited with short growing season, it gives us additional weeks, because when our operation starts around, I want to say mid May is technically when we start planting. Sometimes it varies every year. We can end our season successfully mid-October. And because of these infrastructure, it allows us to have additional weeks. Our goal is always to fulfill our contracts, which they average between 18 to 22 weeks. And these tools we use for a lot of our heat-loving crops, the tomatoes, the peppers, and a few other crops that we alternate. But overall, the goal is for us to take advantage of the season extension, which we find it to be very, very successful. And I think it's a great investment, USDA supporting small scale farms like ours.
Wonderful. And then, so as you were thinking about starting your business and structuring it and getting that plan together, like where did you go to get those resources to actually set your farm business up?
Like I said, my husband and I, we've been dreaming big since the beginning, right? Obviously, we started with microgreens inside our tiny apartment, and we're like, okay, we're at an incubator farm. We want to grow 100 different varieties of different, crops, and then quickly realized that's just not ideal farming, especially the 2 acres that we wanted to maintain over time. So like I said, we accumulated this information being part of, conversation with organizations that are already doing the work. We utilized information from our Department of Agriculture. We just took, bits of information over time from different spaces, and really thought about, once we have our own land, because, when you're leasing, I would caution folks to think about long term and what your goals are, right? Because, leases, trust me, we've done that and it has its own challenges. Just, before you start investing a lot, just think about, what you're trying to do and how you want to grow your business. So that taught us a lot. And so we had to put a pause after, a couple of years of leasing, and in terms of how long we want to pursue leasing versus ownership. Ownership is allowing us to think more and go deeper in terms of our value added products, like our sauces. So for us, it just made sense to own versus this year to year leases that we're just not 100% sure where it would take us. So I think just starting small, like I said, if you extension is another great resource I forgot to mention. Yeah, I believe all the states should have extension programs. Is that correct, Emma?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, highly encourage folks to I'm sure they have field days or resources, a lot of resources online, and definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, so great points. And so kind of to that, Sarah, what recommendations do you have for folks, as we sometimes hear from beginning farmers that they might visit their local office, but maybe they don't have such a great experience because they're just asking for, how can you help me? What's their, the importance, can you share with folks the importance of having that plan and knowing what to ask for when you go into the service center to make sure that you get the best experience?
Definitely. And I think that can sometimes be a point of confusion for folks. They think like, well, I'll just call USDA and like they'll tell me what to do, like soup to nuts, start to finish, like hold my hand. And unfortunately, that's just not really like the role of those local offices because what we focus on is like program delivery. So disaster assistance, risk management, financing. And so it's really meant to support a business that's getting started or currently operational. To those folks who are still kind of trust they're not necessarily like program ready, but kind of looking for that like on ramp to getting ready to work with USDA because some folks just aren't there yet, and that's totally fine. So a really important part of the journey is your local extension. They tend to host a lot of workshops, trainings. The universities and local farms offer field days. Kind of get out there, get into the community, and get as much exposure as you can. And kind of that will help you think through, well, what I like to do in my own operation, like what would make sense. And you actually get to see things and talk to humans about their businesses and learn enough to kind of start to put together your own plan so that because it's hard for us and folks are like, I don't know, like maybe I want to grow vegetables, maybe I want to raise livestock, but having a plan, an idea of what you want to do and how you want to market your product is going to help your folks at your local USDA office make a recommendation and to like this program is going to be a good fit for you, or this can help you achieve your goals and help you fill out your application. If you don't have a sense of kind of what you want to do and you want somebody to tell you what to do, I think he's probably still in the research phase. And I see Naima nodding. I'm gonna let her chime in too if she's got anything to add.
100%. You captured everything I was gonna say. 100%. Yeah, no, that's a great point, Sarah.
So $1 million question here. Are there grants to help people get started farming?
That was gonna be my next one. So that is also something that we encounter as folks. There is I think a bit of a misconception that there's a ton of grant money to get started farming, and unfortunately, there is not. There are grants that do exist. They tend to be smaller, and they often are focused on something in particular, like a part of operation. Like there might be grants to help with conservation or like marketing or doing value added. Um, I have yet to find the person who's willing, or the sort of philanthropic organization where they'll write you a blank check and tell you to go buy a farmland and a tractor. That would be great. But a lot of the grants that are out there are targeted towards specific activities or types of farming, or when you're already farming, they're meant to help you grow and scale. A lot of folks refer to the NRCS programs as grants, but they are actually technically cost share programs. So they share in the cost, they offset, and the producers do have to pay a percentage of it. And a lot of them work on a reimbursement basis. Naima, have you used grants in your operation?
Yes. So part of our tree planting, pollinator habitat, that's cost share. Yes, we have our well fencing. So yeah, there's definitely a good chunk of cost sharing within the USDA. Definitely highly encourage you to look into that. I want to echo what you said, Sarah. I mean, I wish that was the idea, right, of supporting a beginner farmer with all the necessary tools, and the capital is really a challenge for a lot of people. But for those that are joining from Minnesota and you're interested in buying land, there is a down payment assistance program here in our state, and I'm hoping that's still the case and true. We didn't access that funding, but that's something that I've been sharing with folks to look into. So there are programs like that with down payment assistance, but every state has different grants and resources. But I can't think of any specific grants within the USDA, but very much familiar and used cost share.
All right. And so Very good questions here for you, Naima, to round us out on our Q&A session. So folks were wanting to know, how is it navigating the different seasons? And then when you wanted to quit, how did you stay resilient?
Oh, wow, that's such a beautiful question. Let me answer the first because of, again, we're in Minnesota, we're limited year-round growing season, so we pivot to other work, just like, small scale farmers. We try to find other work off season, but so we're obviously not growing, but our goal is to take advantage of this commercial kitchen and continue, value added products and continue working year around, things that are coming from the farm. But, in terms of, the resilient piece, farming humbles you, you just have to take it year by year. Last year, it was our first year new to the land, different soil, different environment. And we were successfully able to build a lot of the things that, we were hoping to finish. On top of that, we were growing food, but because of the climate and the heavy rain and the low temps in June, which was weird, a lot of our crops didn't make it. So, unfortunately, that, was devastating. But, I think you have to look at the bigger picture. Again, you have to ask yourself, is this something that you're really passionate about? Or is this just a hobby for you? You really have to think about the long term too. I mean, I tell people, like I said earlier, keep your day job until you really, really can answer some of the hard and reality questions when it comes to farming. And look at your records will tell you if this is something that you really want to invest in, continue. If you do a really good bookkeeping, then because we do. I try to tell folks, don't lose that passion, and don't lose that drive, because your books don't make any sense. I mean, we're in the hole every year until we are completely done building, and we're constantly investing every dime that we make back to the farm. We don't see all of ourselves, but we see the investment 10 years from now or 5 years from now, in different phases. So don't get discouraged. Keep going. The climate, there's definitely a lot of conservation resources that you can look into, because like I said, last year with the heavy rain, we had standing water in some of our field that was historically used as conventional farming, and we're trying to revive and use that space to expand our fruit and a few other things. And we're using some of the conservation programs through USDA to bring that space back to life. There's just tons of information. Definitely emphasis on visiting the website.
Sure, wonderful, thank you. So this time, Sarah, I'll turn it back over to you. I think that wraps us up for Q&A.
Yeah, I know there were some questions we couldn't get to because there are folks, a lot of really great questions and conversations. But Naima, I just want to thank you again so much for joining us today. You're a very, very busy farmer with a lot on your plate. So we really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us and everybody who's able to join today. Time is your most precious and finite resource as a farmer, so thank you for giving it to us today. We really, really appreciate it. And for folks, I apologize if we didn't get through all the questions. There were so many, but just as some reminders, this is being recorded. It will be posted online. Also, there's a lot of other webinars and recordings on our farmers.gov YouTube channel. Also, I did see some really great questions in the chat about sort of financial management, business entities, LLCs. I recommend visiting farmers.gov/taxes or ruraltax.org. We have a lot of resources that financial literacy is a personal passion of mine. So our Beginning Farmer team leads our FSA, USDA's Taxpayer Education Initiative. So there's a lot of other great resources too that we didn't have time to cover. But thank you all so much for joining us. Visit farmers.gov/newfarmers and hope to see you on our next webinar. And thanks again, Naima. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah.